Welcome to Soul-Voyance. I am Psychic Selina, and here are my top 7 psychic predictions for the future of humanity. So, at number 1, there's going to be a transhuman. This is a human that is combined with the structures of a robot. So this could include microchips in the brain, bionic limbs, even a human being plugged into a computer or a robot. And this pioneering scientific creation, if you like, is going to be used to fight in wars. So it's like robot wars, transhumans fighting in wars. They could even be robots, just robots fighting in wars, but humans are connected to them somehow. This could include AI, artificial intelligence, as well. These transhumans are going to be like superhumans as well, like bionic humans, similar to the Terminator film. And you can see with the film Dune and Dune 2, you saw Zendaya's outfit at the premiere of Dune 2, and it was like a robot outfit, a robot suit. So this is the sort of look that some of these transhumans will have, with the robot accessories attached to them. This again, it could be microchips, internal as well as external parts, and this can actually be used to improve medical science as well. So people that have had limb amputations, maybe strokes, brain damage, it may actually help people in medical science, but it could actually be really controversial as well. And it's going to create like superhumans that have like AI technology connected to their brain. So they're almost not thinking for themselves. They're having thoughts put into their head through maybe AI computer programs. At number 2, there's going to be some sort of genetic engineering to create a genderless human. Just to say, these predictions go quite far into the future. It's the future of humanity, so it's not necessarily now. I mean, some of this is starting to happen now, but it's more like the theme of the next 100 years onwards. So the genderless human is where the DNA is manipulated. It's created without human reproductive organs. So it's created in a lab, and it's like a test tube baby, and it's created by taking out the gender hormones. So DNA is manipulated to produce a androgynous, genderless human. This is going to be starting off as like an experiment, and then it's going to be introduced into countries where it's going to be an option for parents in countries that have very big populations, where the population is exceeding, the birth rate is exceeding the death rate. And it's a way of controlling the world's population, or to even bring the numbers down of the population. So parents will be able to choose. They will be able to have their first child, one child in these countries, that will be natural conception, natural birth. And then the second child will be the option to have a second child. I don't know if it's compulsory or an option or a choice, but it's like parents will be told, you can, if you want, you can have your second child to be created in a lab as a genderless human. And this is actually going to bring the population numbers down. Anyway, this is what I've seen. And this could be kind of, again, going into the next 1,000 years, but you may actually see experiments coming in the next few years of this. They may even do it with animals. They may start the experiments on animals, really controversial stuff. I actually see a few protests going on, in protest, animal rights people protesting, and it's going to be really controversial. And it will start with animals in laboratories, and then they will test it with human genetics, embryos. Okay, so number 3, there's going to be a deadly virus, a really nasty virus in the world. Now, I'm not sure if this is a virus or a bacteria. This is the bit I don't know, because it's like smallpox. It's like, I'd say, a cross between Ebola, smallpox, or anthrax. I think it's naturally occurring. It's like it's one of those things that is probably starting in animals. I don't think it's in Europe. It's more like Africa or Asia, India continent, but I think Africa, and it's a bit of a epidemic, but it may go into a pandemic where it kind of spreads, but it's more in Africa than Europe. There might be a few cases in Europe. I think it does have a high mortality rate, so it will kill a lot of people, but it's not necessarily like really, really deadly, because there's people that will get it and recover from it. I can see lesions on the skin, so it's like it looks like smallpox, where they have the bumps on the skin. The timing for this I got was around 2027. It may just start in a small area, and then there may be like spreading to different continents, but it's mainly in Africa. I don't feel it affects Europe that much, actually. Maybe a little bit, but it may start with animals, like it's affecting all the farmers' animals, and then it transfers to humans. But this is what I saw with it's either a virus or a bacteria. I do feel it can be cured in some way. If it's a bacteria, they'll be able to treat it, but I have a feeling it's like, it might even be an unusual type of virus it's like a cross between a virus and a bacteria. It's not a virus we've seen before. It's definitely not an infection we've seen before. It's like a hybrid. It's like a new infection hybrid, and this was around 2027. It might even go into, it could be anything from 2026 to 2028. It's not yet, but it's brewing, it's coming. They might even like have a few cases in like 2026, but then it's the whole thing kind of gets a lot out of hand around 2027 to 2028. I think it's under control by 2029. There may be a vaccine for it. It's just going to be like a pandemic sort of thing. It's what I've seen coming. Okay, number 4, there's going to be something called a BRIC currency. So we've got the BRIC countries, which are Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And originally, America was very, very well known for manufacturing products, clothes, goods. So it's like, in the olden days, it was like you were born in Britain, but you were made in America. So everything is always known to be made in America. Now it's not so much the case. It's these BRIC countries, I think Iran, and there's some other countries that have joined as well in BRIC countries. They are now taking over the lead of being the main countries that are creating all the manufacturing of goods and products and clothes. So they will actually create a currency called a BRIC currency. And this will be one currency similar to how the euro was introduced, where it's just for all these countries. So these countries will not use any other currency. They will use a BRIC currency. This BRIC currency will be very competitive with the dollar, and this will actually make the dollar drop. The dollar has decreased quite a lot already. It will continue to decrease, especially going into the next 5 to 6 years. And I think the BRIC currency could happen quite soon over the next few years. So it won't necessarily overtake the dollar. I mean, it may do, but it's more of that they're head to head, they're in competition, and it's going to have a massive impact on the dollar's value. I don't think it will have much of an impact on the value of sterling, pound sterling, which is the UK currency, or the euro, but it will have an impact on the American dollar, the US dollar. This could cause stock markets to crash and a massive recession to happen over the next 6 years, especially with the American stock markets. So this is something to look out for, the BRIC currencies. Going into number 5, there's going to be DNA genetic engineering that happens, where it can be used for modern medical science to cure or prevent illnesses, diseases such as cancer and Alzheimer's disease, heart disease, and various autoimmune diseases, even sepsis, because they're going to find a pioneering way to engineer the genetics in humans. This could even be before the embryos are fully formed into babies and at embryonic stage. And they are going to manipulate the DNA so that the babies then, when they are growing and when they are in the, even in sort of childhood stage, going into adult stage, they do not have these diseases. They are immune. They cannot have these diseases such as cancer, heart disease, because the genetic DNA has been manipulated so that they don't get it. And how they will do this is they will study animals, they will study humans, scientists will study humans and animals and see which ones are resistant to certain diseases and which aren't, and see the differences in the DNA and the genetic code. Going into number 6, there is going to be a new form of renewable energy. And I made this prediction before, and it's actually starting to happen this year as we speak. And this renewable energy is going to be based on the Big Bang Theory, the hydrogen helium atoms, and it's going to be called some sort of nuclear fusion and nuclear fission energy. So nuclear fusion is when 2 atoms are forced together, 2 nuclei are forced together. These atoms then make one bigger atom, and a lot of energy is expelled, energy is lost from this. It is producing a lot of energy, and this is exothermic reaction, and that is the fusion, coming together of atoms. And then the nuclear fission is when a neutron and an atom the neutron hits the atom and splits it in 2, and a lot of energy comes out, and again it's exothermic, and it is a nuclear fission. And this is actually how we are created, how the universe is created. It's done through these exothermic reactions, hydrogen, helium atoms, and carbon molecules, carbon atoms. So this is actually going to be energy saving. It's not going to be cheap to begin with, but it will go into something where it's sustainable and it's affordable going into the future, because fossil fuels will be decreased. There will be less of them to the point where they are diminished. And also the pollution that they create, burning of fossil fuels, the actual pollution, the sulfur dioxide and the toxic heavy metal gases, they are bad for the environment. So this is actually a very clean energy. It's going to be made in a special nuclear generator where they split or they force together the atoms, and it's actually going to help the planet massively with the environment. And if you've ever heard of someone called Nikola Tesla, Nikola Tesla. He actually had a lot of ideas for this, do with electromagnetism. So this is going to be, it could even be based on some of his theories. They could be explored more. And I see massive generators, and it's going to be the norm, and it's going to really help us. And finally, number 7, there's going to be supersonic commercial air travel. So when you go on your holiday, you're going to get on your aeroplane, but it's a special type of aeroplane, and it goes supersonic. And it will be based on how a spaceship, space rocket is created, the technology, so the engineering behind that. And I don't know if it necessarily goes that way. It might go vertical, and as it goes vertical, it kind of goes vertical but horizontal and then lands. So you could be in Australia in really, really short time. If you were in the UK and you wanted to go to Australia, it would take you a really short time to get there, because this commercial craft is going to be supersonic, which means flying faster than the speed of sound. And there you have it, my top 7 predictions for the future of humanity. And of course, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel for free, Soul-Voyance. You can follow me on TikTok, which is Soul-Voyance, to get all my latest predictions and outcomes and news articles on world and celebrity events. You can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram. And of course, visit my website, www.soulvoyance.co.uk. If you would like to book a psychic reading with me, I offer pre-recorded and live psychic readings. I'm also a medium as well, so I can do mediumship. And I'm also doing some psychic workshops soon, so look out for those. And it's bye for now.